Thank you, Madam Speaker, and glad to be speaking to this bill. Actually, I'd rather not be speaking to this bill. I don't think we should, this measure, I'd rather not be speaking on it. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's a total overreach of the government for political expediency, and it's inappropriate, and it's very selective. And that will be probably the nature of my comments here tonight. But first of all, I do want to thank all the members of the staff here this evening, table officers, interpreters, food services, maintenance. We appreciate what you do for us staying these late hours of the night. And think of the cafeteria workers are here half an hour later than we finished tonight. So, thank you to them. Also want to thank the Parliamentary Protective Services who had long hours over here on the Hill for the past 3 weeks in order to keep order. They've been having a lot of polite conversations with the protesters and approaching them with a calm, professional demeanour. And I can't help but wonder that if the Liberal government would have had the same approach, that the situation would be where it is today. Matter of fact, I'm sure it would not be. They made absolutely no effort to reach out. And it's not just in the past 3 weeks, Madam Speaker. This is the approach they've had, that's just what they've had over the years. During the pandemic and beforehand. I can't think of a single time that the Prime Minister or any member of the Cabinet, for that matter, has even taken a minute to voice any degree of willingness to listen to the Canadians who disagree with them on the measures that the government has taken to promote the exclusion of Canadians based on vaccination status. Prime Minister and many other Liberal caucus members try to paint anyone not fully vaccinated or not supportive of exclusionary mandates as enemies, questioning whether they should be tolerated. Canada, we're talking about. It's known for our tolerance. It's known for our multiculturalism. And this is the type of approach that our government is taking constantly. It's their mode of operation. Let me go back to last year when 50 churches were burned down. They said, the Prime Minister said this: "One of my reflections is I understand the anger that's out there against institutions like the Catholic Church. It is real, and it is fully understandable the shameful history that we've all becoming more and more aware of, and engaging ourselves to do better." Such pious words. It's wrong, Madam Speaker. Burning of churches for the Prime Minister and this Liberal government is understandable, but no desire to show concern for those protesting now. He told several church leaders that evangelical Christians were the worst part of Canadian society. Yes, exclusionary tolerance. That's what I'm speaking about. Talking about 3%. Madam Speaker?
Order. Resuming debate, the honourable member for Pitt Meadows, Maple Ridge can continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for those comments, and I'm happy to answer the questions afterwards. I think of something that the Prime Minister once said regarding exclusion and intolerance. Let me quote here. He spoke about an event that killed several people and wounded hundreds, many of them losing arms and legs. He said, "But there is no question that this happened because there is someone who felt completely excluded. And our approach has been, it has to be, where do those tensions come from? Where do those tensions come from?" Who was he speaking about? He was speaking about the Boston Marathon bombers, not the families and others here in front of us. That's his approach to those that he might identify with, and yet he's excluding many others. It's shameful. It's shameful and it's divisive. Why now has he no willingness to understand where these tensions come from? It is because he knows that the answer to that question of why there's these tensions, these problems, is in the mirror. You just have to look in the mirror. Does the Prime Minister think that calling anyone that is not fully vaccinated or against their exclusionary mandates, calling them a bigot, a racist, is a way to help relieve tensions? No, it's not. Does asking if their very existence should be tolerated help relieve tensions? Of course it doesn't. But you know what it does do? It drives wedges through the population, and they are masters at wedges. That's their whole this is their way to win elections, is wedges. Who cares if it's dividing Canada? Yes, shame on that government. Shame. And that's what this Prime Minister and his colleagues like to do. For them, it's a great electoral strategy. I understand that. It's electoral. If all this was an electoral strategy, and don't ask me, you could ask members from their own Liberal Party. That's what it is, electoral strategy. It's obvious from this side. It's not, and it's obvious to different ones in that side, even within their own benches. Cater to 35% approximately, maybe Toronto, Montreal, maybe downtown Vancouver. Listen, we can win the election with that. We'll expand it a bit. Who cares what we're doing to Canada? Who cares if we exclude Alberta, most of Alberta, Saskatchewan, rural parts of Canada? Oh, conservatives are Nazis. You know, who cares? As long as we get our 35%, as long as we can sit on that side, who cares what happens to Canada? Do you care? Through you, Madam Speaker. Through you. Do they care? I don't think so. It's ridiculous. Honestly, there's some things, principle is a lot more important than just winning elections. Do we get it? So dismiss other parties. They're obsessed with poll numbers. No, I understand. Polling is important. Les libéraux sont obsédés.
Point of order.
Order. Maple Ridge has 2.5 minutes
Madame la
left.
Présidente.
2.5.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you. The Liberals are obsessed with polls. Several times today, the member for Kingston made fun of the Bloc by referring to polls. He said Quebecers would not vote for the Bloc anymore. Thank God that the Bloc and the Conservatives stand against the Liberals who are being supported by the NDP.
With them on most things. But yes, we do understand, Ken, the Bloc.
Still having that debate in between. I'll tell you, I actually had a call from someone from Wendover this week who had a number for Pitt Meadows, Maple Ridge.
Yes, Madam Speaker, this is a precedent-setting, first time ever invocation of the Emergencies Act. They didn't seem to be so quick to impose it recently when there were blockades. I disagree with blockades, with violence anywhere, spoken out against it when I was an MP, as an MLA in British Columbia, and as a Conservative MP. But they pick and choose, go way over. The blockades were actually here on the borders. They're already gone before the imposition. This was totally unnecessary. It's totally a purpose of diversion. Let me just say one thing, and that is this. Why are we having this all of a sudden? Well, it seems to me a couple things. Things like their pandemic strategy might have been, well, what's going on here? Let's impose mandates upon truckers who've been able to drive back and forth in the past two years, keep the supply chains open, bring that in, and try to double down when there was pushback. They don't care if tens of thousands of Canadians are losing their jobs. And I talk to them. I talk to truckers. I talk to many others. There is not a compassion. It's like that's political fodder for them to win, to strategize, not realizing that how many countries are opening up? How many provinces are opening up? No, we're going to double down on this right here. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
And comments, the Honourable Ridge.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't happen to be the Prime Minister, okay? I'm not. So, Prime Minister is the person that is right in front, supported by the cabinet, supported by the Liberals. And here's the thing. I used direct quotes. I was using direct quotes that our Prime Minister has said. I'm not just making things up right here. These are the words. He called them a misogynist, racist, extremist, Nazis. That's the word. Oh, flippant. Oh, is it the truckers? Is it the unvaccinated? Is it Christians? Is it this? Is it the Western? Oh, whatever. We'll keep our little power base. Maybe grow that a bit. Sorry. Inappropriate for Canada. Inappropriate.
Séance des commentaires. L'honorable député de Longueuil.
Merci mon collègue.
I thank my colleague for his comments. We hear that there are terrorists outside. Well, if that's true, then how come they don't walk around on the hill? Most of them, they're walking around, they say hello, and they're normal. So are they really that dangerous? Thank you.
For Winnipeg Centre.
Madam Speaker, well, I happen to be Indigenous. My family went to residential schools. Okay, I understand this. But that isn't about what this is. This is about Emergency Measures Act being imposed like it's never been before. Disgraceful. Thank you.
We have time for a brief question. The honourable member for Saanich Gulf Island. Answer the honourable member for Meadows Maple Ridge.
These are examples of the tolerance and intolerance of our Prime Minister and the Liberal Party primarily. And I just gave you a variety of examples throwing out, including Unabomber, all sorts of different examples. There are so many of his approach, constant approach. And we oppose this imposition of the Emergency Measures Act as extreme. Thank you.
Resuming